sign.
Hey guys, it's TechNation Tutorials here, back with another video tutorial. This one's a VB.NET tutorial. It's part 2 of this awesome, really neat, cool computer information application. Just displays a bunch of your computer's information. And right now we have started the form, and we've given it some visual looks. And we've named the list box 1 through 9. If you haven't done this, please go back and watch part 1 of this video tutorial, and we'll get started here. So we're actually going to run all the code the second the form loads. So to do this, we're going to click on form 1, and this is going to bring up a private sub of form1_load. Now, honestly, the 4 hardest things to get are the CPU name, the CPU speed, the brand name, the model number. Actually, there's 5, and the RAM. The RAM's not hard to get, but it's a little confusing on how I do the math in the program. But you'll see what I mean when we get onto that. That will most likely be the next tutorial. So, but first we're going to focus on getting our CPU name. So the first thing we're going to do is dim CPU name, and we're going to do it as a string. Okay, so if you don't know what this code means, I'll go over it. Basically, we're dimming, which is declaring, and a value, which is CPU name. Now, I could really type in your mother here, be like, yo mama, your mama, and it will recognize it as dim or as a variable. But we're really going to do CPU name. Okay. Oop, and I spelled that wrong. Okay, there we go. So CPU name as string. So we're declaring CPU name as a string. And a string's it's basically stores information of some variable or some value, which is text of some sort or information of some sort. And I hope I didn't confuse you. I probably did, but they're really easy to understand once you know how to use them. Basically, like I said, we're declaring something, we're giving it a name, and we're doing it as a variable or something to hold it. You can also do integers for numbers, and those are very helpful. But back to the tutorial, because I've talked 3 minutes of your time. So let's do this. So dim CPU name is string. Now we're going to get our CPU name and the information from our registry in our computer. So the first thing we need to do is import. We need to do it up here. Imports, and we need to do Microsoft.win32. And that's a little important line of code that's going to let us get into our registry. Now, to further explain this, I'm actually going to open up my registry editor by typing in run in my search. And within the run, we're going to type regedit.exe. And hit OK. And this menu is going to pop up, and just hit yes. Okay, now this is our registry editor, and this may look like a bunch of hoopla, and that's okay. Basically, this is where all our information is stored. As you see, all our processor information, the name of the processor, how many megahertz it's running at, so on and so forth. And we're going to grab that information. Same with our brand name and our model number. And this is where our program is going to grab it from. So we imported this so we can start coding. So we're going to do reg key. So reg key, or nope, sorry, I need a dim reg key as registry key. Okay, then we'll go reg key equals registry dot what is it going to be? It's going to be .local machine. Okay, and now what this line of code is telling it is so this line of code is dimming registry as a registry key. And then reg key, we're telling it to go into our local machine folder. And basically, once we're in our local machine folder, we're going to need to navigate through multiple folders to get our processing information. So we're going to type reg key equals reg key dot open sub, and this is where we're going to type in the folder name. So we're already in this folder because we're saying local machine. So from here we need to go into our hardware folder, the description folder, the system folder, and then the central processor folder, and then 0. So basically this is how this is going to work. So we're going to go do some quotes in here, and within these quotes we're going to type hardware, W-A-R-E, hardware backslash, it's going to be hardware backslash description, so DESCRIPTION backslash, and from the description we're going to go system, so capital SYSTEM backslash. Okay, so after that backslash we're going to go central, and I'm not even typing, CENTRAL processor. Okay, and I think I spelled that right. Yes, I did. Okay, central processor, and we're going to go back and we're going to do core 0. And core 1 also, I think, has the same, yeah, it has the same information, but core 0 everyone will have. I think that's the number of cores. Since I have a dual core, I have 1 and 2. So after this, we're not done. We need to do comma and then false. And the reason we do false is because we're not going to write anything into the registry. We're just grabbing information from the registry. So that's why we do false. And I'm just going to take how much time. Okay. So I'm going to try to finish this up. So basically, we opened up the stuff to grab our information. So first thing we're going to do is grab our processor name. So go into your registry and go into the hardware and make sure you have all these files, or make sure you have it spelt out properly as well. And I'm actually going to rename this, but I'm not actually going to rename it. I'm just going to copy the name so that I can go in here and do CPU name equals reg key dot get value, and within that we'll put the value we're trying to get, which is our processor name string. So it's going to go into this folder and it's going to look for a processor name string, and that's going to pull up what the name of the processor is. And we also want to grab our CPU speed, which we haven't dimmed yet, so I'll go ahead and declare CPU speed as a string, and from there we'll go CPU speed, not name, equals reg key dot get value, and we'll be getting the value of, let's see, megahertz with a little squirrely line. So we'll just rename that and copy that and then paste that. And then from there, once we have those two variables, we'll go ahead and just click or type reg key dot close. Okay, now we do have to do a little bit of division, because as you see, the processing speeds in megahertz, and most common processing frequency to be displayed is gigahertz. So we're going to take this megahertz value and divide it by 1,000 to get a gigahertz value. So we'll dim CPU speed, but this one will be different because this will be, so CPU speed, but it will be gigahertz, and CPU speed gigahertz as string. And I messed up both things. STRING. Sorry. Okay. So we'll go ahead and dim that as a string, and this is where we'll do the math. So we'll go CPU speed gigahertz is equal to CPU speed divided by 1,000. So basically what we're saying is the gigahertz speed is the same as the megahertz speed divided by 1,000, which now we have collected that information. We can go I5, which is, we can go ahead and delete that because that's totally not what I meant to type. So we can go I5.text, and the reason I know it's I5 is because I made this tutorial a couple of times. But as you see, I5 is next to processor name I5. So processor name, so I5.text is equal to CPU name, and then I6, which is the processor speed, dot text is equal to CPU speed, but we want to put out a gigahertz, and we want to append it and say space gigahertz, just so they know what value we're reading. Okay, so now if I go ahead and boot that, the program should pop up and it should say the type of processor I have and the type of if that's going to come up with an error. Nope. Okay, so yeah, so basically as you see here, now it displays our processor name. I have an APU, which means it's a CMD and a graphics card. It's like a mixture. And then I have, as you see, it displays basically 1 gigahertz of processing speed. So that's tutorial number 1, guys. Come back for tutorial number 2 or 3. That's tutorial number 2. Come back for tutorial number 3, where we'll be doing, we'll be getting our brand name and information from a different registry, and then we'll be getting all the other information. So don't forget to leave a like, comment, rate, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.
Bullseye.